All right. So today we're going to be talking about what is SHA256. So you've probably heard a lot about SHA256 in passwords or with Bitcoin or with cryptography, but what the heck is it and why is it important? And just like what is it? So we're not going to go into the actual algorithm in SHA256 today because honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. There are a lot of people who have spent time writing it, but I think what's really important is just to understand what it is and kind of the impact of it and how to use it. So SHA256 was a cryptographic hash function made by the NSA, specifically using the Merkle Damgard structure. So what the heck does that mean? It's a one-way compression function. So what is a one-way compression function? So let's take a look at this. So I've got a Ruby console running, and let's try to get a make a SHA256 of something. So in Ruby, we can require digest, and then we can get our hash. So let me copy this here. It's a little bigger for you guys. Okay. So this is it. That's the whole thing. That's SHA256 right there. I can use this helper function in Ruby, and I can type in something, and it will give me an encrypted hash back. And the reason it's called a one-way hash is because it's really difficult to go back. So it's really easy to convert message into whatever this long string is, but it's really hard to take this string and say that it is a message. So if I run this again and again and again and again, it's always going to return the same thing. So if you do this on your computer, it's going to return the same thing. Messages can equal to 8530, blah, blah, blah. But if I do something else, it's going to be a completely different string. And they are all just going to be completely different, and they will result in a different number. Okay, cool. So that's SHA256. That's pretty much it. It's really fast. So what does this mean for you? Like, why is this a cool thing? And if you're designing websites, like, what does this mean? So let's imagine that you are running a website and you are trying to store some passwords. So let's get a new terminology here. All right, cool. So let's imagine you're trying to store some passwords, and let's imagine that this is your database. So we'll call this your database, and let's say it has 5 passwords. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, cool. Oh, let's save this file. Okay, cool. So this is your database of passwords. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe somebody put, I don't know, monkey as their password. Maybe somebody had a long string of random numbers. And let's do one more. Let's just say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. All right, cool. So we've got some passwords in your database. Now, in your database, you could store them in plain text, which would be bad, because if you ever had that database released out into the wild, into the world, everybody would see everybody's passwords. So that would be bad. But what you could do is you could encrypt it with SHA256. So instead of people seeing 1, 2, 3, monkey, blah, 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 and ABCD, they would see the encrypted version. So let's do that real quick. So I'm going to make a bit of a helper function right here. And let's let's do that. So we've got our helper function. So now I can let's encrypt these passwords. So encrypted passwords equals database and just password and SHA256 password. All right, so that should do that, and let's put the encrypted password so we can see. Okay, so let's try to run this. Oh, whoops. Initialize constant digest. There we go. Wire digest. See how we're doing now. There we go. So now we have some encrypted passwords in an array. And so instead of just save the unencrypted passwords, we can save them encrypted with SHA256. That's pretty cool. And let's print out the unencrypted passwords too. Unencrypted passwords. All right, so it's a one-to-one relationship. But that's actually not super secure because SHA256 and like lots of other encryption algorithms like this are publicly known. So I could just go on Wikipedia and I could just look at like what are the most common passwords. Most common passwords. Yeah, here we go. So lots of people are probably going to be using these passwords for your site, and they probably reuse them and all that jazz. So if people are just using these passwords, I, as a hacker, might go, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to take the most common passwords and I'm going to just store the SHA-256 hash of them. So once I have your database, I'm going to try to figure out what the passwords are. So how would somebody do something like that? So they might go and take the passwords, and they might say these are the most common passwords right here. So I might make a little script to have all the passwords right here. But you encrypted them, so you're safe. But are you really? So there's this thing in computing called a rainbow table where you could just pre-compute the hashes of all of the passwords. So what does that mean? So I might have a rainbow table, and let's just do it. So I may have these common passwords. So I might say that my rainbow table is equal to an empty hash. So I might passwords.map to my password, and I could just say rainbow table SHA256 password. Password. So now, what does that give me? Cool. Let's check this out. Wow. Now let's look at that. It looks to me like I now know that AF41 whatever is equal to 555. So if all you did was put this as the password, saying if all you did was do a one-to-one hashing between the password and SHA-256, it's actually not that secure, because I might be a hacker and I might say like, okay, I know that a large percentage of your users are going to be using very simple passwords, so I'm just going to use a rainbow table which I pre-generated like this, and I'm going to be able to find all the passwords. So then all I would need to do is say like, okay, cool. What is my password? So let's say I was looking at my encrypted password, right? So I could easily just say my encrypted password is. So let's look at the first one. So we got the encrypted passwords here. Let's look just at the first one. It doesn't exist because what was the password? The password was 12345. That's not actually a common password. Let's look at monkey, because monkey happened to be, I think, one of the more common passwords. Oh no, wasn't? Okay, let's make this 12345 6. So then it'll be easy to determine. So right there. So now I just decrypted the password because I had it in the rainbow table. So what can you do to get around this? Well, all you would really need to do is add a salt to your passwords, and then you'll be encrypted. So what you can do is when you are encrypting your passwords, just add some sort of secret phrase. So I could add some sort of salt, and then I won't be able to get it as easily. So now I don't know what the password is. Okay. So that's what we covered today. We covered what is SHA256, how you could encrypt passwords with it, and how you could be more secure. So you could add a salt to the password so it's not a one-to-one mapping. And so if we go back to this and we take a look, it's going to be completely different if we add some sort of secret to it. So SHA256. I may get my password, which is 12345 6. Cool, but if I add a salt to it, it's going to be a completely different thing. But as long as you know the salt and that's a secret, then it's okay. So you could even do the salt something that's kind of deterministic. Like you might say that the salt is equal to the user ID and the site name or something. But as long as it's secret, it should be okay. Okay. Cool. So that's all I have for today. If you guys like videos like this, I'm making new videos all the time. So stay tuned. All right.